Would like to now ask Mr. ASHFAQ YOUSUF TOLA onto the stage, please. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, I am extremely grateful to Pakistan Business Council and the organizers, including Asif Zaman, Dr. Saab, and I welcome Iqbal Bhai from Saudi Arabia. Let me first confess that Pakistan needs you. So, be generous. Pakistan needs you because Pakistan's economy has no other dent except for the current account deficit, except for the trade deficit, except for the mismatch of my foreign exchange reserves. So in my humble view, we are doing right as far as my economy is concerned. My GDP is growing at a rate which it should be. Everything is under control. I'll not raise the slogan of that my bacha is makroos of 1,17,000 rupees. My bacha's GDP has also increased. And we all know that economic is a package. It cannot be viewed in isolation. If we want to see debt, we have to see GDP. Mind it, in the last 5 years, we have increased the revenue from 1,913 billion rupees to, inshallah, probably on 30th June, 3,985 billion. So isn't it an achievement? We have. But where we are lacking? We are lacking on one front. And that is one of the core issue. That issue is my foreign exchange reserves. And why it is depleting? It is a big question mark. Do you think we can't grow at this pace where IMF is was certifying last year, until last year, Asian Development Bank was certifying, your Moody, Fitch, Standard & Poor, IBRD, JETRO. You just look at all the articles, all the reports. They all were very positive. What happened overnight? Yes, it was a big question mark for all of us. And it was really very difficult to answer. The journey of this tax amnesty began in 2014. My dear friend Sikandar Saab has rightly said that when this CSR, Common Reporting Standards, were started in 2014, and at the back of the mind, I was part of the core team, we had a look at it and we said, look, this is the avenue, and why that was the avenue? The avenue was because of the fact that Swiss Parliament has passed Return on Illicit Asset Act in 2010. And you can see on Archive and Geo that in a very good show of Kamran Khan, we had a session of 30 minutes and we discussed that law threadbarely. And according to that law, we have a right to claim our assets, provided we have a right kind of double taxation treaty. And that was not present. We tried our level best. Some of the countries bought data from Swiss banks. But we were not in a position to do that. I can take you back to 2010 when there was a famous WikiLeak. And that Julian Assange has narrated that Pakistanis, according to Swiss finance minister, Pakistanis has a balance of $500 billion in Swiss accounts. Then there was a petition in Supreme Court of Pakistan filed by the then Senator Muhammad Ali Durrani. He was also information minister, and he filed that Pakistanis has this much balance abroad, so please do some measures to bring them back. And that petition was triggered again this time to take this suo motu action by the present Supreme Court. And rest of the things were merely the additions and the riders. So we were, dear audience and my fellow Pakistanis, we started this journey in 2014, and we wanted to become, in fact, we have made a commitment that we will be the signatory of CSR. Most of the countries, they were not trying to avail this opportunity, but we wanted to, and in 15, appropriately, with folded hands, Sikandar Bhai, it was purposely we have gone. We were not avoiding that. We have gone and we said we want to be part of this deal. It took them 6 months and then they conveyed, okay, you change your law and show us the draft. We simply had an opportunity to incorporate an amendable law through budget. And that comes in the mid 2016. Again, with all the conscience, we prepared the draft. I was part of the team, and then we incorporated that very thing in Finance Act 2016, which was reviewed by OECD, and then they gave us a go-ahead signal, and the document was signed in 2016 September. There's a gestation period for few information for 1 year, and then for the full-fledged member for 2 years. So it is not, with due respect, it is not that we wanted to avoid. One thing which is a misconception on the part of general masses, that politicians and bureaucrats, they wanted to avoid this because they have got their filthy money abroad. So market, even in this scheme, I'll demonstrate that we have not allowed them. We have said, look, if you are a holder of public office, in last 10 years, it is a big period. You can't claim, even your spouse or dependent children can't. So I'll just go through this document, and then from there on, I'll take your question. It is a very, very interesting scheme. I'll not take much of your time in presentation. In fact, I'll allow you to put questions, and I'll be glad to reply to the best of my knowledge. So can you move on to the slide? There are two distinct laws. One for the foreign assets. So please don't mix the concept of residence or non-residence. We have geographically divided them. In fact, certain concepts may have been mingled, but they are appropriately defined and have been clarified through subsequent documents. Mind it, we have got two kinds of assets: hidden assets, not because of the fact that people wanted to do it, but because of the fact that there was lack of enforcement. Let us concede that bureaucracy is not nek parveen. And vis-a-vis, my taxpayer is not also very sacred. So it was a perfect match to hide your assets. Now with this global ring fencing and insulation of tax treaties, especially OECD and FATCA, we have no space to hide. And maybe in 5 years down the road, They will be socially boycotted. And their assets will be confiscated in other jurisdictions. So it is a fear. देखिए ना पाकिस्तान की नफरत में ये पाकिस्तान से बाहर पैसे लेके गए थे, ना मोहब्बत में ये वापस ला रहे हैं. Whatever we say, it is a window which we have given to the masses to behave like a good boy. We had two options. A child who don't want to go to school, we have two options. Give him a candy floss and make him habitual of going to the school, or use the stick. But in my humble view, that should be the last option, because after that there is no option. You have to kill them, you have to shoot them, which we can't do for the social crime, for a civil crime. So this is a candy floss, and I am quite positive that my countrymen will behave properly and will make this scheme success, because I again reiterate, Pakistan needs you. Again, the second scheme is basically local assets. By local asset I mean those assets, those who have created their assets out of Pakistan source, or maybe remitting money or repatriating money from abroad as well, and they have not declared it. So in other words, this is a unique scheme. Out of the 11 amnesties came from Pakistan, which has only one significance, that is asset declaration. So in my humble view, this is a unique law. A unique law because it has a sunset clause. It will die down automatically on 30th of June unless we extend this. Unless. I'll come to that. But what I'm saying, this window is a unique window. And first of all, this legislation was made once we signed in 2016, my countrymen, I wrote an article in Business Record on October 16, 2016, offshore asset, a bullet to bite. And you can find it, this is a unique title, offshore asset, a bullet to bite. You just go to Google, search it, and you will find the entire article. It was almost 3/4 or 2/3 page of Business Record, which is a big thing to get it published. Nonetheless, that was almost an award winning, and that became the talk of the town. And we wanted to make it feel to the public that some amnesty is coming. It was supposed to come last year, but because of 11th hour appearance of Panama Leak, it went to the back burners. Now again, in this budget we researched, and in October 17, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi Sahab, the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, called us, myself, Masood Naqvi Sahab, and Abid Shaban, and he discussed these amnesties, law of which we have already prepared. So we said, okay, look, you can just put these caveats and you can go ahead with it. Then comes the suo motu action of Supreme Court, so they went again on the back benches, because it was on some other connotations, that how to repatriate that money from abroad, which is practically it was impossible. After a thoughtful or a careful analysis, this ordinance was announced on 10th of April and benchmarking the date of 9th April, and has a sunset clause of 30th June. Then thereafter, it was re-promulgated and it was inserted with the consent of the Speaker of National Assembly in the money bill. It was passed and now it is a law. Again, going through the history of this novel concept, which I would say, although it is inequitable, and I pledge on oath that I have always paid my taxes and I will not declare my amnesty. I have no assets to hide. We just did it to save the tax culture of Pakistan, to boost economy of Pakistan, to give proper declaration of assets to the Pakistan. I can tell you one thing. The quantum of grey economy in Pakistan is almost the quantum of above board economy, or which is the GDP, real GDP of Pakistan. The real GDP is around 318 billion. And the contribution of direct tax is almost 1600 billion. So if we are in a position to surface half of the grey economy and translate them or switch them to a real GDP side, it will definitely contribute to our tax to GDP ratio. Hence, this was a thoughtful exercise which we carried out, and in my humble view, although I am not a beneficiary of it, and I will not be benefited, but if it is benefiting my country, I will be more than happy. So we have introduced this reform package. Next slide, please. It includes area covered, all foreign assets for a local one. I mean, suppose if I am a Pakistani and if I am a tax resident of Pakistan and if I bought an apartment in, say, UAE, and if I have not disclosed it, it was a fashion कि जी हबीब मियाँ ने लिया है तो कलीम मियाँ ने भी अपार्टमेंट लेना है. वो एक जब सोशल गैदरिंग में they used to sit, oh, have you bought an apartment in Dubai? No. Oh no. So it was becoming a fashion to have an apartment in Dubai, तो मैं आ जा सकूं, मेरे रेसिडेंसी वीजा होंगे, और कुछ फरूक भाई जैसे हमारे दोस्त जो यहाँ आ ही गए फिर. Then for locals, again, if I am saying कि जी हम बहुत thoughtful, we went very thoughtful. There are certain undisclosed income because their stocks are not on the books, their other assets are not on the books, and the earning therefrom was also not visible in their tax returns. And minded in Pakistani tax law, strictly speaking, a tax officer can go back to 6 years and he can open your case. So it was a threat that suppose if we will make this amnesty a success, the next question will be, what will happen to my past? So we said, like, give them a window. Give them a window. Don't leave this issue in lurch. फिर हमने कहा undisclosed local assets. गाड़ी है, घर है. And even I've seen so many other assets, gold, cash. People are, I mean, a client of mine came to me 3-4 days back, and I narrated this example at ICAP as well. He came to me and he said, sir, I have a physical dollar balance of 2.5 million. Unreported, undeclared. So people have that kind of assets, hidden assets, undisclosed assets. So we said, okay, let's clean the mess. Let's clean the mess and give this window as well. Then people said, I bought a house last year, or some real estate traders, they said, we want to just sell it next year. So we want to avoid this capital gain. We said, okay, you revalue your assets and pay us 5%. So if you go up, देखो, perfect law I can't make, वो अल्लाह की ज़ात कर सकती है. So whatever possible avenues we have found, we have plugged. Whatever law lacunas we have found, we have plugged. Wherever we feel that they will be at the mercy of bureaucracy and especially FBR, we have clipped their wings. So, for all practical purpose, we have ring-fenced this scheme in a way that if a person is availing with honesty, he will not face any consequence in the future. Now, the timeline, it is applicable till 30th June. Today in the lounge, when I was coming, our finance secretary was going to Tehran. From Dubai, he was going to Tehran. And I requested him. 3 days back, we held a detailed meeting with Shamshad Akhtar, the Honorable Caretaker Finance Minister of Pakistan, State Bank Governor was there, Chairman FBR was there, key people of FBR were there. And we argued that. We said basically, time is a little, it is a race against time. So if we want to win this battle, you have to extend. I mean, मगर उसका एक तरीक़ाकार होगा. I said, Madam, you have given an ED of 5% dollar devaluation to my countrymen. Now take something out and allow them to avail this extension of maybe 15 days. But in no case I will advise them to go up till 31st July, because I have seen the fate of this amnesty and I am continuously watching that when we introduce this concept, when ordinance came, people say this is an ordinance, yaar. Then it was presented to Parliament for approval. People say nothing, yaar. Ye kya hai, yaar? It's a piece of legislation. But then it was approved as a Finance Act. They said, yaar, wo Supreme Court dekh rahi hai. Then Supreme Court has approved, okay, chalo yaar, with heavy heart we are approving it. Then they said, कि आपको पता है अगली हुकूमत आके खोल देगी, तो उसका मेरे पास कोई इलाज नहीं है. And if we, I mean, my suggestion, I don't know what is going to be the fait accompli of that very proposal. If they want to increase it by 31st July, I will be the first person to say don't do it, because 25 को आपका election है. Then this slogan will again be circulating in the market. Oh, भाई अगली हुकूमत आ जाएगी यार, उसमें देखेंगे क्या करना है. So, with all fairness, in all fairness, I think this should be the timeline. But okay, I know we are in a Pakistani culture, so koi baat. But again, this shall be through some legislation ordinance. Next slide, please. Now, tax rates. You all are aware of these tax rates, and we can cover them in questions to avoid time. I mean, if you want, I can narrate them, and I can. कि 2% है आपकी, 5% है लोकल एमनेस्टी के लिए या उसके लिए आपका फॉरेन एसेट्स के लिए. वी हैव लिक्विड एसेट्स नॉट रिपेट्रिएटेड 5%. फॉर इमूवेबल वी हैव 3%. एंड इफ यू आर ट्रांसमिटिंग और repatriating your dollars in Pakistan, it is 2%. Again, today we will have this dollar bonds rules issued. Again, if you intend to invest in dollar bonds for 5 years, you will get 3% semi-annual, 3% annual, but payable on semi-annual basis in your rupee account. But the biggest question is that will it be translated into rupee at the end of 5 years, or you will be allowed to take it in dollars. Again, this offer is for the local dollar available in the accounts as well. And all other assets, including revaluation, stock, cash, jewelry, 5%. Now, the biggest hallmark of this scheme is confidentiality. Next slide. देखिए ये वरी है कि जी मेरा कॉन्फिडेंशियल रहेगा कि नहीं. दिस इज द फर्स्ट लॉ आई हैव सीन फ्रॉम एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड कि जहां जेल भी करती है उन्होंने. अगर किसी ने कॉन्फिडेंशियली, इफ समबडी हैज ब्रीच द कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी, विल पुट देम बिहाइंड द बार. तो दोज हु इंटेंड टू, लाइक सोशल मीडिया में आ जाता है कि जी भाई के इतने एसेट्स हैं, वो फलाना घर मैं 50 लाख में कैसे खरीद लूं. So I think gossiping will die down. And I have never seen in past 11 amnesties that any declaration made by any Pakistani has been disclosed. So it is assured. And we have talked to the relevant people. I mean, I know in Pakistani terms who are the relevant people. they may not be on the surface, they may be behind the curtain. They have also said, come what may, we will not allow this. So, assured, again, this piece of declaration will not be admissible as an evidence, which is again a very comfortable type of a thing for all of us, that okay, suppose if tax authorities may say कि जी आपने अपनी sales suppress की थी, and how they have arrived at, they can't open this document, and even if they have the access, they can't use this as an admissible evidence. So this is another comfort zone we have. Overriding the bank. This is true that it has an overriding impact on all the laws, sales tax, FED, I think local laws, because if there is a foreign law and which is in conflict of a local law, the foreign law as per constitution will prevail. So yes, but there is a full stop comma there. If it is a predicate crime like narcotics, like smuggling, like terrorism, if money is created out of that, so it is not covered. This is FATF, Sikandar bhai. Pakistani local assets, in that scheme, even a company or an AOP can also avail. But in case of foreign, we can't do it. Foreign scheme is a distinct asset declaration scheme. And local one is a sugar-coated amnesty scheme. So there is a distinction. In Pakistani, for a Pakistani company or Pakistani partnership or maybe an individual, they can disclose their undisclosed income, they can get an amnesty out of that, companies can avail, and even trust can avail, because trust is also defined as a company under Section 80 of Income Tax Ordinance. So there are so many advantages which we have extended or enlarged to those who want to come into the band. Tax on foreign assets, Sikandar Sahab has also touched that, can only be paid out of your own account abroad, your account out of Pakistan, if you have a foreign exchange account and balance is there. The balance shall be the minimum balance of March 31st or June 20, whichever is less. So you can send, even if you are, there was a practical problem of operating foreign account from Pakistan, because most of the people have direct access of these foreign banks to remit their money abroad. So in that case, the field 72, which is very essential to identify yourself that who has remitted and on whose account, that was not available. So we said, okay, look, give us a check and we will accept it. Then again, a leniency was also extended by saying that, okay, a brother, sister, real sister, parents, siblings, they can pay their dues as well. However, we have fought it out, but I think my Governor State Bank is very much worried about FATF. I don't think, as Sikandar has said, I have agreed, I'm in complete agreement with Sikandar Sahab, that when there is an identification, there is no violation. So and it is routing through Dadaji. Nostro. Okay? So what I'm saying, again, we can't force State Bank of Pakistan, still we are trying to convince them. And let Bajwa Sahab comes back from FATF, he is there. So I hope, inshallah, Pakistan will get a relief, a sigh of relief. Now, value of, there is, today even, there is a problem, and they have purposely, I think, triggered that, for what reason I don't know. KG value of asset to us was basically cost of acquisition, or declarant has a choice of his own declaration. But today they have given another dossier which says that suppose if you have bought an apartment in Dubai for 900,000 dirhams and you want to show it as a cost, at the cost, so the value of dollar will be the value of date of declaration. Abhi aaya hai. 2 hours before, but then I have just WhatsApp this to FM के ये क्या कर रहे हो? Black's law में लिखा हुआ है cost of acquisition means historical cost. And even section 9 of the amnesty scheme says that this section is for the purpose of tax calculation, not for valuation. So you are inviting trouble, and inshallah some 5,000 wala lawyer will go to the court and will inshallah get the stay, and the entire scheme of things will go. Anyways, Asif has just informed me. No, they can file. No, they can file an additional. They have allowed it. You can file multiple declarations. So I'll not take Asif more than 5 minutes. I will left all these documents with Asif. He has the soft copies. You just write give your number or email. Asif, you will forward them. No issues. I am here. Asif, I am here. Don't worry. Don't worry. I am an ambassador of Pakistan right now. Don't worry. Sir, इसके बाद अगर आप देख लें, but आगे, can you move please? This is simply a procedure which you can read and you can understand. There is no rocket science in this. So next 2 slides were, कर दो यार, next slide please. Again, these are the valuation mechanisms which have been defined, and I think they are very easy to understand, even for bankers and chartered accountants and ICMAs and ACCAs. It is just reading and understanding. And the declaration form is very easy. You just create your ID, you download your own form, you enter your fields, you enter your amounts. It will generate a document. You can transmit that money along with your remittance advice. You email to State Bank and you will get the credit. So next 4 pages are again, in my humble view, they are the simplest of the things. But the deadline of a cut-off date is 9th of April, except Pakistani foreign currency accounts, which is March 31st. So it is very simple. We have to have a cut-off date. There are so many unanswered questions, which I expect this audience will, this August gathering will come forward with, and I'll be glad to reply. एक अब आखिरी जो रह गए हैं ये थोड़े से दो चीजें हैं. Can you move? Yes. Citizen, who is citizen of Pakistan? Citizens Act. I don't want to spoil this sale pitch of Sikandar भाई. ठीक है, इसमें काफी complications हैं. 19 countries की भी आपने कही हैं. Yeah. Yes. Mind it, I am giving a red flag here. America is the country where you are assessed for your world income, even you are not a resident. Okay? And I am privileged to attend some meetings, not in Pakistan. I have studied 40 jurisdictions around the globe. And out of that, in my humble view, 5 to 10 are considering to adopt that concept. And days are not far. I'm telling you, because of the shrinking global economy, people will opt for it. Right now, there is no, it's a red flag, I'm saying. Resident Pakistani, Sikandar Saab has elaborated that. requirement of filing a wealth. This is a very common misunderstanding between Pakistanis. Just go through, mashallah, you all are very qualified. Just go through 4 or 5 sections of income tax ordinance and you are master in Pakistani taxation from your own requirements. One is section 11 subsection 5 which says कि जो पाकिस्तानी पाकिस्तान का टैक्स रेसिडेंट है, he has to file his global income return and global tax assets. Wealth. 11.6. A non-resident. उसको अगर पाकिस्तानी सोर्स की कोई इनकम है, वो डिक्लेयर कर ले. 114. वो कहता है आपको ये you have to file return and these are the exceptions. Just go through it. 115. If you own a property in Pakistan and if you are a non-resident, again you don't need to file income tax returns. 116. Every resident of Pakistan is required to file a wealth statement. 116 है इकबाल भाई माफी के साथ. Every resident from 2018 will be required to file his assets worth 100,000 or income more than 10,000. So it is very simple. और बहुत से लोगों ने खुद अपनी गलतियों से they have missed the bus. And literally out of 10 declaration we file, I have found only one declaration to be technical. Rest of 9 are very easy. And I have seen people, they come to us, they just get this clearance, and that's it. So it is very simple. मुझे ये पता है कुछ हमारे कंसल्टेंट बरादरी है वो बहुत डरा रही है लोगों को कि जी ना जाना मौत के फरिश्ते को घर का दरवाजा नहीं दिखाओ. जैसे ही, बट प्लीज ये आप मत समझ. if you are honest and you have if you have a clarity in your mind that yes, I want to be part of a documented culture, don't delay. Then court of law, simply 3 court of law है इनके, appellate tribunal, high court and supreme court. नीचे अगर कमिश्नर अपील के पास है, no issues. Any proceeding is running, no issues. Shares in foreign. Now there is a common phenomena that the company is in Pakistan, operating out of Pakistan. Shareholders are in, say, other jurisdiction. A company whose business is in Pakistan, but they are holding shares maybe in UAE jurisdiction, maybe in St. Kitts, Cayman Island, BVI. उस केस में वो फॉरेन एसेट है, लोकल एसेट. सो ये छोटे छोटे पॉइंट्स हैं जो क्लियरिटी चाहिए. अंडर डिक्लेयर्ड एसेट आपको कहा मैंने, आप रिवैल्यू कर लें. बेनामी एसेट्स बिल्कुल कर लें. ये बड़ा एक कॉमन सवाल है कि जी यार मैं नहीं कर सकता, वो भाई से करवा दूं. आई मीन सपोज इफ आई ओन एन एसेट एंड आई कांट, भाई के नाम से कर दूं. नो एम्बार्गो. Now the biggest glut was, can you believe 50,000 से ऊपर वाले जो रेमिटेंसेस गए हैं, जो चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने, ऑनरेबल चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज इंक्वायर्ड अबाउट, you know what is the quantum? $15.4 billion. It's too much. So they have put a restriction, and wisely so, that you can't take $10,000 in a single tranche, and that will too be subject to a special sealing of an annual sealing, yearly sealing, which will be announced very soon. Before, I think, properties have been cleared. Now you have to come up with a fair value or some way in between. There will be a department which will look after. There will be a separate terminal for that. So there are certain plugins in the law as well. And I think, next slide please. Again, I have explained this, these both things. And finally, next slide. Again, with a request, with a humble request that Pakistan needs you. Please, thank you very much.